So what are the learning outcomes for this topic? So we would aim that you will be able to describe the functions and the overview of the immune system, enumerate and describe the different immunoglobulin classes, and be able to differentiate the innate and adaptive immunity, and together with that, enumerate also and describe histologically the organs of the primary and the secondary lymphoid organs. So the immune system in general, so this is not your first encounter with the word immune system. So the function of this one, so this is not entirely an anatomic set of organs. Just like, for example, the skeletal system or the gastrointestinal system, that it has a certain exact anatomic description. So the immune system is a system in the human body that provides immunity against a wide range of infectious agents. So that can be from viruses to parasites or bacteria, or sometimes if it malfunctions, so it also includes own tissue or own host cells. So that's the goal of the immune system, to recognize any foreign body and have an appropriate response upon that recognition. So the structure in terms of the immune system is more dispersed. So it contains more of the blood cells that are the lymphocytes, and it also has the specialized lymphoid organs. So that's connected through the circulatory system and also the lymphatic vessels. So this, if there will be an imbalance in the recognition of certain structures, for example proteins, and creating a response towards it, so that is when we encounter either autoimmune diseases or also immunodeficiency diseases. So you can see here the description or the illustration of the lymphatic vessels. So the right lymphatic duct, thoracic duct, source cisterna chyli, and lymphatic trunk. So the lymphatic vessels, the main goal of this is that to absorb any fluid that will leak from the blood vessels, and that fluid will now be circulated along the body and be brought back again to the circulatory system. So that's the function of the lymphatic vessel. So you can see in this illustration that it captures whatever is leaked out from the blood vessels, and then it will have its certain drainages. So if you try to read your books, especially for anatomic books, you will hear the word blood supply. So that's like the source of blood, like the arterial supply, and the nerve supply. So that's the nerve that supplies the tissue. And you also can notice what we call as a lymphatic drainage. So for a certain group of tissues, they also have not just blood and nerve supply, but also drainage or lymphatic drainage. So these are the lymphatic vessels, and in the right side of this illustration, you can see the lymphatic tissues and organs with the primary lymphoid organs, namely the thymus and the red bone marrow, or just the bone marrow in general, and secondary lymphoid organs, for example, the tonsils, the lymph nodes, spleen, mouth or the mucosa associated lymphoid tissue, and other dispersed lymph nodes all throughout the body. So based on that, we mentioned primary and secondary lymphoid organs. So what do we mean by those two terms. So when we say primary lymphoid organ, so that's especially the thymus and the bone marrow. So that just means that these are the organs that actually create the lymphocytes and differentiate them. So for the creation or the production of blood cells, so all of those are happening in the bone marrow, but the differentiation, for example, for B cells or B lymphocytes, that happens in the bone marrow, and for the differentiation of T cell, that happens in the thymus. So that's why it's called T cell. So what do we mean by differentiation? It means that from the origin of the immature cell, it will become a mature cell. So that's what differentiation means. Just a quick recall. So those are primary lymphoid organs. Whatever lymphoid organs that hosts differentiation of the lymphocytes. So that's just the thymus and the bone marrow. While for secondary lymphoid organs, so they are like the peripheral headquarters of the lymphocytes. So that can be the lymph nodes, the spleen, tonsils, Peyer's patches, and appendix. And there we also have what we call as MALT, or the mucosa-associated lymphoid tissue, that can include the diffuse immune tissue and the mucosa. So we have several macrophages also stated or stationed everywhere, and lymphocytes stationed everywhere. So that's characterized as a diffuse immune tissue. And also we have certain immune tissues in the different mucosal surfaces. So that's the immune cell distribution of lymphocytes, because for the immune system or the lymphoid organs, the lymphocytes are the major cells in charge. Okay, so for primary lymphoid organs, so the bone marrow, this is the origin of all blood cells, as I have mentioned earlier. So that includes lymphocytes. But for the maturation or differentiation, it only involves B cell maturation. So hindi kasama yung T cells dito. Saan? What else are happening in the bone marrow? So dun din yung microenvironment for hematopoiesis, also self-tolerant selection, meaning the ability of our immune system to tolerate antigen so that it will not attack our own tissues, and it also initiates initial antigen independent development. So that's the whole function of the bone marrow. I mean, that's an overview of the function of the bone marrow. In terms of physiologic appearance, so this can also be seen in the bone, wherein you can see a collection of blood cells or blood cell production sites. For the thymus, so this is the site of T cell maturation and selection. So we have two divisions for the thymus. So it includes cortex and medulla. So cortex, in terms of function, will house the positive selection of functional T cells, wherein it means na yung T cells will be tested if they will recognize certain antigens. And if they recognize the antigens, do they recognize them strongly or just enough recognition? So that's positive selection. While negative selection refers, I mean, most of the negative selection happens in the medulla or the inner part of the thymus, and most of this one involves elimination of T cells that are reacting strongly or inappropriately against antigens. So the thymus as a whole is active only in childhood, and it will undergo involution with age. So meaning it will somehow disappear. While for the next primary lymphoid organ, so that's that's the previous bone marrow. Next parts of the So in terms of structure and organization, take note that the thymus is encapsulated, and that is made up of vascularized connective tissue. So meaning my blood supply embedded within the connective tissue. And also this organ is divided into lobules. So it is lobulated and it is divided by septa. So it can be divided into cortex also and the medulla. So the cortex is dark stained, and it usually contains the immature T lymphoblasts or the thymocytes. So basta immature ang cells, usually dark sila or medyo basophilic. While the medulla naman, that's light stained and it contains mature T cells. So, mature mas less dark, and minsan eosinophilic na nga sila in terms of staining. And it also contains a dendritic cells. So, these are antigen presenting cells and also macrophages. So, in terms of structure, so this is how the thymus appears under the microscope. So meron tayong capsule again. So yung sabi natin ay vascularized capsule. So this is just a thin connective tissue that surrounds the thymus, and it extends trabeculae inward, forming incomplete lobules. So yan. And then, sabi natin, it can be divided into the cortex. So, ito yung dark staining. And ito yung medulla. That's the inner lighter region of the thymus. So, in terms of cortex, so it is made up of more na mga T lymphocytes na small. So, they have small nuclei that are composed of condensed chromatin, kaya naman very dark. And if you will also take note na yung medulla, so dyan yung mga mature na lymphocytes. So if we will take a closer look, so ito yung cortex. So this is how it looks like. So yung mga may arrow, so yan yung mga epithelial reticular cells. So they are large cells and they have oval nuclei, although hindi masyadong halata. So they have euchromatin. So meaning hindi ganun ka-condensed. Kaya if i-compare mo siya with the lymphocytes, lighter stained siya compared with the lymphocytes surrounding it. And so this is closer view of the cortex. And then, meron tayong makikitang other WBC. So this one. So this one naman is a macrophage. So you can see how large it is compared with the surrounding lymphocytes. So this one, meron siyang parang na-phagocytize na T cells. So most probably, so these T cells are for removal. Kasi di ba yun naman yung ginagawa ng macrophage, engulfing substances or cells that should be removed from the body. So if titingnan mo yung nuclei nung lymphocyte na naswallow niya medyo smaller, or what we refer to as pycnotic compared sa nearby na lymphocyte. So, meaning it's for removal. So, malapit siya ma-deads or na-dead na siya. Okay. So, meron ding tinatawag na mast cells. So, yung difference naman ng mast cells in terms of structure is medyo very apparent compared with the nearby cells kasi they have round oval nuclei and granules that stained bright red. So, parang opposite siya konti sa basophils in the bloodstream, wherein darker basophilic yung granules. So, for mast cells in the thymus, bright red, orange yung mga granules niya. So, alin kaya dyan? Okay, so, yes, ito yun mga yun. See? Those are the mast cells. So, that's for the cortex. You can appreciate the darker, smaller lymphocytes. So, dito, ano pa to? Parang remnant din siya ng connective tissue. Okay, this one naman is the medulla. So, that's inner and lighter region of larger lymphocytes. So, you can notice that based on the parang white background na and lighter color of the nearby cells. So, that's the medulla. So, in here, there is a notable structure. Pero, note nyo din, meron pa ring reticular cells sa thymus. So, they are still large cells with lightly stained cytoplasm. Pero, for this particular section, under the microscope, meron tayong tinatawag na Hassel's corpuscles. So, those are closely packed, concentrically arranged epithelial reticular cells. So, para siyang circling na epithelial cells. So, yan yung very distinguishable or characteristic of the thymic medulla. So, that's for the thymus in terms of structure under the microscope. Next naman ay yung lymph node. So, ano ang purpose ng lymph node? So, that's for filtering the lymph and trapping antigens. So, they can also be organized into cortex and paracortex. So, meron tayong site for B cell activation in the lymph nodes and a germinal center naman for cell formation. So, they are somehow interposed along lymphatic vessels. So, this is a microscopic image of the lymph node. So, yung overview niya, makikita nyo naman dito yung capsule. Yan. So, that's the capsule. So, this is composed naman of dense connective tissue, which is thicker kung i-compare mo doon sa thymus. And then, ma-appreciate nyo yung cortex na outer region of the lymph node. Meron din siyang tinatawag na inner cortex and meron din tayong tinatawag na medulla. So, that's for the lymph node. So, if we will look closer, makikita nyo dito yung dense connective tissue of the capsule. So, that's enclosing the node. Ngayon, meron tayong tinatawag na subscapular sinus. So, pag sinabi natin sinus, so that means it's a space or a hollow area in the body. So, this is connected underneath the capsule. So, the capsule and then may mga sinus dyan. So, that's the subscapular sinus. So, that will receive the lymph from afferent lymphatic vessels. And meron din tayong tinatawag na trabeculae, just like in the thymus. So yung connective tissue that will extend inward from the capsule. So you can appreciate that here. So that's the trabeculae. And kung may subscapular sinus, meron ding trabecular sinuses. So yun yung spaces alongside the trabeculae in which yung lymph naman mag-flow from the subscapular sinus papunta sa cortex. And yung cortex, yan na ngayon yung outer region of the node. And yung cortex sa lymph node, merong outer cortex and merong inner cortex. So, sa outer cortex, usually, andyan yung mga clusters of B cells. And yung lighter center, it means dyan nagde-differentiate yung B lymphocytes to plasma cells. While yung inner cortex naman, or what we also refer to as the paracortex, doon naman nakalagay yung T lymphocytes. And here is the medulla. So that's the inner part of the lymph node. So yung mga areas naman sa medulla, meron din silang sinuses that will accept or where the lymph flows that will now exit the node. So that's the medulla. So dyan naman nakalagay yung mga plasma cells na nagsisekreta ng antibodies and B lymphocytes and the macrophages. So that's the lymph node. Next organ naman will be the spleen. So the spleen is a secondary lymphoid organ that will filter blood-borne antigen. So it contains both the white pulp and the red pulp. So in terms of structure, so yung white pulp, so that will contain the lymphoid tissues, both B and T cells. So red pulp naman, based on the name red, so it contains the area involved in blood filtration and removal of old RBC. So, mapapansin nyo na color red sila because of the red blood cells na nagsistay doon. So, that's for the spleen. So, in terms of structure, meron pa rin tayong capsule. So that's also a dense connective tissue that will enclose the organ, and meron din siyang trabeculae din. Pero that will now also contain, or dyan din dadaan yung mga blood vessels that will enter the pulp. So again, we have what we call as white pulp. So dyan nakalagay yung mga lymphatic tissue. So it appears medyo basophilic because of the nuclei. And the red pulp naman is the area wherein it the area that filters the red blood cells. So in the white pulp area, meron niyang mga parang sphenic nodules. So they are usually a collection of the B cells that are located in a central arteriole. So kaya lang hindi siya masyadong kita dito. While meron din tayong tinatawag na peri-arteriolar lymphatic sheath. So the peri-arteriolar lymphatic sheath, or what you can read as the pulse. So they are a cylindrical mass of mature T lymphocytes that will surround the central arteriole. So in this area, so yung lymphocytes na nagsusurround, yung lymphocytes na nagsusurround nitong central arteriole, so yan yung periarteriolar lymphatic sheath. So this is a longitudinal section of the pulse. So again, yung collection of the lymphocytes surrounding this arteriole, yun yung pulse. Tapos ito naman, central arteriole yan. So meron tayong tinatawag, di ba, na red and white pulp. Meron din tayong tinatawag na marginal zone. So this one, so that's the region between the red pulp and the white pulp. So nagkakaroon ng interaction yung mga macrophages, dendritic cells, and different lymphocytes. So they interact with each other. And next is the actual na spleen. Actual na red pulp. So you can see na puro lang siya red blood cells, and the red pulp now appears very eosinophilic because nga of the large number of RBCs. So meron dyang mga spaces hindi masyadong ma-appreciate, pero yung mga spaces na yan, so yan yung mga splenic sinusoid. So those are the vascular spaces that contains yung mga endothelial cells that filter RBCs. May mga spaces dyan. And that's how they are able to filter the red blood cells na old na. So meron din tinatawag na splenic cord. So those are the connective tissues that contains macrophages and plasma cells and lymphocytes. So dyan. So those are the connective tissues. Yeah. So anong tawag natin dyan? Splenic cords, or sometimes tinatawag na cords of Billroth. Yan. So that's the spleen. Okay. So pagdating naman sa mucosa-associated lymphoid tissue, so pinaka particular na example ay si tonsil, pairs, patches, and appendix. So they contain the different mucosal lymphoid cells. So anong itsura ni tonsil? Under the microscope, so meron siyang stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. Kasi meron pa siyang part na connected sa oral cavity. And so then yun. Stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. And if you will look in a lower objective, so you can see naman the different aggregations of lymphocytes. So yun yung tinatawag na lymph nodules in the tonsil. So they have germinal centers usually kung saan nagkakaroon ng production of lymphocytes. So ito yung whole lymphoid nodule, lymphoid nodule, lymphoid nodule. And another important part also of the tonsil ay yung tinatawag natin na crypts. So those are enfoldings of the epithelium into the underlying connective tissue. So, hindi lang siya masyadong appreciated here, but that's the lining epithelium. And the lymphocytes will pass through the epithelium during areas of inflammation, and that's why gahubag ang tonsils during infection. So that's the tonsil histologically. So those are the different lymphoid organs. So what about the immune system as a whole? So meron tayong tinatawag, di ba, na innate immunity and adaptive immunity. So in terms of function, si immune system, yung action niya is to recognize self from non-self. So self versus non-self. So for the immune system, in order to do that, meron siyang ability to react to certain structures that are not of human. So for example, if meron siyang certain carbohydrate, automatic nakikita yan sa bacteria, tapos i-recognize siya agad ni immune system. So meron siyang pre-programmed na immune defense against that. So anything that doesn't require previous exposure, so that's what we refer to as the innate immunity. So pag sinabi naman nating adaptive immunity, by the word adapt, meaning nag-adapt siya sa exposure. So it means it requires a previous exposure to a non-self in order for the immune system to create a specific directed attack against this non-self na antigen or pathogen. So that's the difference between adaptive and innate. So pag innate, nandyan na siya agad. So anong pinaka-straightforward example? So the epithelial barriers and also the skin. So that's a barrier or a part of the innate immunity. And yung adaptive naman, ang favorite example natin dyan ay yung mga formed antibodies against certain antigen. So in a practical sense, for example, na-vaccine kayo ng anti-Hepa B, so that's an adaptive immunity type of defense. So meron kayong antibodies against hepatitis B virus. So that's adaptive immunity because that's directed and specific and was pre-programmed, adapted, meaning ginawan siya ng paraan ng pwedeng vaccine or previous exposure, so ganun. An example ng innate immunity ay, for example, meron kayong na amoy or napasok sa nasal area na kagaw. So the nose will keep on secreting mucus in order to eliminate that certain nuisance or non-self structure. So that's a form of innate immunity. So that's the major differences. And ano yung main cells involved in adaptive versus innate? So sa innate immunity, kasama dyan yung mga general phagocytes like neutrophils, eosinophil, basophil. Kasama na rin si complement, dendritic cells. So these are antigen-presenting cells, while sa adaptive immunity, yun yung mga lymphocytes. So B lymphocytes, so they create antibodies, and T lymphocytes naman, they are the effector cells. So they have a lot of function that correlates with organizing an immune response against a specific antigen. So ano yung mga members of the barriers of the innate immune system? So kasama dyan yung acidity and organic acid. So for example, sa stomach, so merong enough acidity for it to not allow just any pathogen to survive kasi sobrang taas ng acid content. Defensins and lysozymes, so those are parang enzymatic systems that will try to kill foreign bodies that enter the host. Complement naman, so yung aim nito is to lyse anything na papasok na hindi from the cell. For example, merong bacteria. Tapos, na-recognize yan ng immune system as a bacteria. So, merong complement protein na magbabind sa certain part of the bacteria, and then it will in turn cascade a group of proteins that will allow creation of a pore from the cell, so allowing release of cellular content. So, nagkakaroon ng holes and nalalyze ngayon yung bacteria. So, yun yung function ni complement. And interferons naman, so these are signals or chemical signals created by WBCs, particularly lymphocytes in the body, in order to stimulate or trigger an immune response. So, kasama na dyan yung cytokines. So, they can either direct cell movement, increase mitotic activity, meaning magpo-produce ng more WBCs, or stimulate and suppress lymphocytes kasi hindi naman pwede forever ongoing ang inflammatory response or immune response. So, dapat may regulatory component and stimulate phagocytosis. So, ano yung mga example of cytokines or cytokines? So, meron tayong tinatawag na mga growth factors. So, they allow growth and differentiation of WBC. So, increasing mitotic activity and increased production. So, meron ding TNF or the tumor necrosis factor. So, they will stimulate inflammation and fever. So, didirect yung body na i-increase yung core temperature in order to make it unlivable sana for the mga bacteria. And yung other interleukins, for example, IL-5, so that's for eosinophil proliferation. So, yung eosinophil, this acts more on parasitic infections and allergens. So, those are examples of cytokines. So, interferons naman, that's for antiviral activity. So, if ever makakita kayo ng mga treatment that has an interferon name with it, meaning kinuha siya from a culture of lymphocytes na magre-release ng ganitong mga cytokines. So, for example, hepatitis virus. So, that's interferon. I mean, yung treatment for some hepatitis viruses involves interferon kasi meron silang antiviral activity. So, ano pa yung example ng important innate immune system cell? So, that's a natural killer cell. So, this is not a T or B cell but looks like lymphocytes. So, it makes up 5 to 10% of all the lymphocytes. So, actually, medyo pare-pareho lang talaga sila ng itsura. We are able to differentiate these lymphocytes from the other types based on the surface marker. So, meron siyang CD16A, CD56, and CD94. So, ang mechanism niya is to release cytokines, specifically yung perforins. So, they create pores inside the structure of the cell, and granzymes naman to induce apoptosis. So, they will kill virus-infected and tumor cells. And a part naman of the adaptive immune system is the existence of antibodies and antigens. So, ito yung mga part of the structure. While yung antibodies naman, sila yung nare-release ng plasma cells in order to bind with the antigen.